Hey, everybody, it's Friday night. That means it's another episode of the Redox 5. I'm Dr. Maureen Hayes from Galveston, Texas, and I've got Dr. Lee Osler, dentist extraordinaire from Washington State and author of several books on redox. And he's going to give a little bit of information on the technology that has brought us all together. But we have a really, really special show for you tonight. We just got back from a humanitarian trip with the Sea Advancing Life to Africa. So we brought on some superstars here. Donna Lynn needs no introduction. She's our Business Builder of the Year and midwife extraordinaire, now full-time redox educator, who went there and just had a life-changing experience there. As well as we brought on some of the people who run this company, because what's so amazing about our foundation is that our corporate leaders join us on these expeditions. They're putting their money where their mouth is, and they're getting their hands dirty. And so tonight we're going to hear from our CEO, Scott Aldred, and his beautiful wife, Gloria, as well as our former CEO and now co-chairman of the company, Chuck Punky, sorry, gotta mess that up, and his beautiful wife, Anna Leah, and Kim Larson, who is our vice president of Ethos, who chairs our foundation and who's going to give us a little bit of background. But before we get started on all of that, I'm going to have Dr. Lee come on and talk a little bit about redox signaling molecules and why it's so important and how we're changing people's lives with this incredible breakthrough technology. So Dr. Lee, come and take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Marine. This is a great pleasure to be amongst this group of esteemed heavyweights in the world of ASEA. First thing we want to do is to make a disclaimer. We are all representing and or employed by a company called ASEA Global, who is making a cellular health supplement that's regulated not just in the United States, but by many countries' regulatory bodies. That is a cellular health supplement, and therefore we do not make any claims to treat, diagnose, or cure any medical disease or disorder. Again, this is a cellular health supplement. And with that, let me just briefly explain for those who might be new to this and might not understand really well what it is this is even about. And then we'll get to the main event here. If you could think of, this is the way I try to explain it when I try to make it simple. If you could think of a thermostat on the wall that is sensing or detecting the ambient environmental conditions of your room, whether it's hot or cold or whatever. And it has a set point, that makes that we set it a comfortable environmental condition for our bodies. But when it gets too cold or too hot, there's a relay in that thermostat switch that flips, that initiates a corrective action. And there's a machine that is turned on that changes the air to be cooler or hotter or whatever until it reaches that desired set point again, and then it turns it off, meaning that thermostat and that whole relay system is a responsive or an adaptive mechanism to the conditions of our room. And I think that's a good metaphor for what we call cellular redox switches. Redox just simply defines the mechanism of action of how electrons move around in cells between molecules, and how it defines what we call the redox status, or the oxidation state, or the stress state of a cell, which then turns on and turns off redox switches or redox sensitive switches to affect these same responsive type reactions in the body to correct what was going wrong and take us back to homeostasis. And so what ASEA Global has created is a cellular supplement that does just that. It plays in the cell in a way that it will help restore the body or activate pathways, genes we call them, to be able to turn on cell protection, cell defense, cell repair, and so forth. And that's why we don't speak of it as a cure, but it's really just, I call it awakening the inner doctor, the inner healer, as it were. And so that's the great advancement. We believe this is a new category in health, because this is not nutrition. These are not food items. They're not herbal medications per se. They are electrolyzed molecules that affect these redox switches that help turn them on and give us more control and management of our health. So with that said, I would refer anybody who wants to dive deeper into the science. There are plenty of resources online. ASEAScience.com is a good place to go. There are other websites, redoxmatters.com. There's just, you can get a hold of the person that told you about this, and they can refer you to more authoritative sources that you can eat your heart out with as far as you want to dive deep. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Dr. Marine and let you take it from there.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lee. And of course, he always dazzles us with the science, but all you need to know is this is a bioreplenishment agent. You drink it, you smear it on, and magical things happen because the body is miraculous. And when you give it what it needs to do the job it needs to do, fantastic things happen. So tonight, we're going to kind of go on a different route and show you our corporate soul, why we do what we do, and why we're so attracted to this company and just passionate about it, because we are here to better people's lives and be a force for good in the world. So I'm going to turn it over to Donna Lynn so that she can come on and do some proper introductions. Donna Lynn, over to you.
Thank you, Maureen. I'm so excited about tonight. When I came back from Africa, I thought, what else can we do? I want everyone to know about the amazing foundation, the places we go, and the good that we actually do. When we're going to these countries like we just did, it doesn't benefit the company at all. We're not over there building business, you know? But we're changing people's lives. And I am so proud to be, I call myself Kim Marie's friend. She's everyone's friend. And if you've ever met her, I know you're as much in love with her as I am. Her heart is as big as anything I know. And the very first time I heard her talk about the foundation and hear her voice crack and the tears in her eyes, I knew that she is in the perfect position as the vice president of all the things she is vice president of. What is it officially, Kim?
I am the senior vice president of ethos, events, and recognition. So the chair of the foundation rolls up under the ethos.
Chair of the foundation, and it's a perfect fit. So Kim, would you just kind of tell us about the foundation, everything that it does, and anything you want to share?
Thank you, Donna Lynn. Thank you for having us on the call tonight. I could talk for hours about the foundation. For those of you who are new to ASEA and don't know much about the ASEA Advancing Life Foundation, we added the foundation to ASEA about 9.5 years ago. In April next year, it'll be 10 years since we've had the foundation with the company. And we have been focused on breaking cycles of poverty, suffering, and abuse. We have several initiatives that we work on, and so I'm going to run through some of those really quickly to give you an umbrella of the things that we work on. We focus on clean water. We have discovered that the majority of the world has clean water, but there are pockets in the world where people don't have access to clean water, and that dramatically impacts their ability to break the cycle of poverty and suffering. Because they don't have clean water, they're suffering from diseases. It's making it so they can't go to school, that they can't hold full-time jobs. They're having to make life-changing decisions of whether they give water to their babies. And we've been in Cambodia where we have seen some of the water that they provide their children as they are cooking and bathing their children. It is sometimes the color of antifreeze, sometimes it's the color of chocolate milk, and it's just full of bacteria that really makes it difficult for them to survive. And many of them suffer dramatically because of that. So we have started to put in clean water wells. We have focused in Cambodia and then in several countries in Africa, and seen a dramatic change in the villages who have access to that clean water. Additionally, we focus on education, and we have built kind of a compound of schools in northern Ghana. There is a kindergarten, a primary school, and a junior high school that we have built in the last couple of years, which is providing opportunity. And if you ever want to see and learn about any of these projects, you can go on our website, which is advancinglife.org, and click on the stories tab or videos tab, and you will be able to read up on some of these and see some of the pictures. But when we saw the conditions of the schools in northern Ghana, they cannot constructed the schools with anything that is engineered to withstand weather and the years of just the earth moving. And so these children were in schools where the walls were starting to collapse and the floors were buckling. And so it wasn't safe for them to go to school. And therefore they were meeting outside underneath trees. And with the heat in Africa, they just could not get a good education. So we were able to partner with a great nonprofit there and build some schools. And we are also funding the operational expenses in Zambia at the Carol Zulu School, which we just visited in July. And you'll likely be hearing about that on this call from some of our expeditioners who went there. This Carol Zulu School has been on the ground for about 20 years, and it started in a little chicken run, and they have grown this school to 850 children. And the ASEA Advancing Life Foundation is funding and paying for all of the teachers, the school supplies, the feeding program, meaning that all the children get lunch. And this is a rare thing in Zambia. A government-run school only operates for a few hours a day, and the children don't get fed. So this Mothers Without Borders, our partner in Zambia, provides food for these children, and they go to school all day and they are learning, and their test scores far surpass other children. So it's providing them with the opportunity to have an education and setting them up for success to break the cycles of poverty. We had the opportunity to walk home with some of these children. And it was amazing to me that a 5-year-old kid would walk the distance that they did, rain or shine. We walked down a very busy road and crossed it, and then went down this dusty trail across the country and walked several miles to get to the communities that they lived in. And I just thought, as we walked on that trail, these children are so dedicated because they see the opportunity. And when you hear at ASEA that we're powering the potential of people, the foundation is also doing that through your donations, through you building a business at ASEA. The foundation can exist, and we're making an impact and providing great education to these children in Zambia. We heard several stories of people who had gone through those programs with Mothers Without Borders and are now dreaming of being doctors and nurses and teachers and servicemen. So they are learning to have hope, and that's what your donations are doing and how it's changing people's lives. Another initiative that we work on is human trafficking. And we have been working on this for the last probably about 5 years, when it came to our attention how pervasive the selling of children is for sex. And once we learned about it, we know that it's a dark topic. It's hard to talk about, but it is something that is in every neighborhood and city across the United States, as well as in foreign lands. And so we have partnered this year with an incredible organization out of Colorado called the Exodus Road, and they are doing work in the Philippines. The first couple of quarters of this year, they have educated more than 800 children on sex trafficking, what that looks like, the signs, what do you do if somebody is trying to extort you, how to stay safe. They've also partnered with police organizations to teach them how to track perpetrators, how to collect evidence, and they have rescued over 30 children. We received, I think it was last month, a notice of one particular rescue that they went in where a child that wasn't even 1 year old was being exploited by a family member. And because of our donations, they were able to remove that child and 4 other children who were being exploited. Our small sacrifices that we give to the foundation are life-changing for the people who are receiving the donations and the partners that are going in and changing the lives through your donations. Another thing that initiative that we have is that of food insecurity. And we have done several different things. Some of you on this call may have participated in some of those activities where we have put together food kits that have been donated to food pantries across the country. And we've gone into the Navajo Nations and built greenhouses so that they could grow fresh produce in the 4 corners on the Navajo Nations where there really aren't any grocery stores and they don't have access to fresh produce. And there's just a range of things that we have done, planting gardens in Cambodia. And we are partnering with a company called Who Lives, who's doing village revitalization programs where they put in a clean well in a village and then they install up to 200 garden towers. And these garden towers are designed so that it's more vertical versus using the land horizontal. And so you can get 200 plants inside one garden tower that is about 3 feet wide. And it takes less water, which in Africa is something that is a huge need. So they're, again, providing great opportunity for the people to get a better, nutritious meals. And then they also provide resources where, like chickens, that they can start having eggs for protein and resources that they can sell to earn money in these communities. Now, if you're coming to the North America Conference in September next month, we have a service project that you can participate in to help us build garden towers. We are going to sew the garden towers and drill the holes in them and then donate those back to 100 Humanitarian who will send them off to Africa, and we'll send them over to Cambodia so that people can have access to nutritious foods. So you can be part of that at the North America Conference. At the North America Conference, you're also on Thursday, when the production tours are happening. If you come to the registration area, starting at noon until I think it's about 3 o'clock, we're going to have a dog, comfort dog. And this dog was trained to help victims when they go in and give their testimonies and are recounting some of the stories that of things that have happened to them, and they're testifying. These dogs provide comfort to them. And this is a dog that we funded the training for this dog, and it's currently works with the Orem Police Department. Her name is Hoku. So you come see Hoku and pet her and come build those garden towers. And I could talk forever about what we do with the foundation, but I'm going to turn the time back over to you, Donna Lynn, and allow others to share their experiences with the foundation. But most of all, I just want you to know that you are making a difference with the foundation, and your donations, 100% of them, go to the initiatives. There is none of it goes towards the operational expenses. That is covered by ASEA. And we are so grateful for the part that you play in having an impact around the world and helping ASEA fulfill its mission statement to better people's lives. Donna Lynn, thank you.
Thank you, Kim, for everything you do. And of course, thank you, ASEA, for being an amazing company. That just makes me so proud. I would never, ever consider working with any other company on the planet. Not just the fact that the product gave me my life back, and I love the people, and their ethos has probably helped me more than anything I've done in my life as far as personal growth. But now to know we can be a part of this, and not only does 100% of our money go to whatever cause we choose or they choose, if you don't designate it, but they match it 100%. So if you give $15, $30 goes to Zambia, to the Carol Zulu School, or whichever place you want it to. And what Kim didn't say, and I'm going to shut up in just a second, is that $25, just $25, will provide school lunches for a child and their school supplies for a whole year. That's not $25 a month. That's $25. I just feel like all of us could give something, maybe give more, because we spend more than $20 a week on coffee. I mean, some of us. I don't do it all the time, but I have been guilty. So we could give up a little something so that they could actually have food and school supplies. And their little faces, when they get their lunches, you would think you were handing them a Thanksgiving dinner. I mean, their eyes light up. They're so thrilled, and they've got like 2 things on their plate. So I was moved. So I'd love to hear about the others of you and your experience, and how this brought you home feeling. So Scott, would you and Gloria talk first?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. We really appreciate being on the call tonight. Chuck and I both have been married long enough. We know we can bring our wives to make us look better. So you can see that. So we brought them on the call. It's a wonderful opportunity for us to be part of this company and really to be part of the Advancing Life Foundation. Our experiences have been very unique, but also very powerful. And this latest experience as we went to Africa was one that you can't not be changed. And that's what I felt, is that, number one, we saw exactly where our money was going and how much good we could do. And that was very, very empowering. The other thing was we can do more. And once you're successful and your family's well taken care of, we feel very strongly that then it's a unique and tremendous opportunity to give back to others. And not only did we go there and see what we were doing, like Donna Lynn said, the children were so gracious and just so happy to see us. And you really felt like you made a difference. And the biggest takeaway was most of those children know we probably won't see them again. And they would tell us, thank you for seeing us and always remember us. And we certainly will. So for me, it was just one of those experiences. It's hard to describe, but when you have them, you have to allow yourself to change. And so you just can't go and say, oh, we did a nice thing. You have to actually make a change in yourself. So with that, I'll let Gloria talk a little bit about her experience. She'll try not to cry.
Yeah, because I want to talk about experience with a young lady that's 23 years old. And we went to see her family into her home. And the day that we went to her home, it was actually her birthday. And she didn't even know. She can't even remember that it was. But it was her birthday. And her mom that we were supposed to see was in the hospital. So we were asking her a whole bunch of questions about her family. And eventually we got to know her a lot better because she had shared some experiences about how she wanted to start a business. And just for her family, she's taking care of her mom and 3 other siblings. That was, I think, 11, 4, and 7. So there was just, it was such a good experience because for a young lady to be so goal oriented in her life and so helpful to her family, it just made us feel like we really wanted to help this lady, you know. She has so much going on for her life. At the end, as we were leaving, we I feel like I had a sweet bond with this young lady, and when I was hugging her, and she just said, "Don't forget me," you know, and she was so happy that we all went. I mean, there's several of us, but and Josephine was with us, and Josephine was able to give her some money of some sort so that she can have some food because they haven't eaten in 3 days. But in the end, that evening, we found out that her mom had died. And it was such a miraculous experience that we were able to see her that day, made her feel like she's seen, you know, she's loved, and she was so happy. But anyway, there's just so much, but the feeling that we felt on that day was just tremendous. But there's so many other days too that, you know, being with the children, feeding them. I mean, we were in charge of dishing up the shima and the beans for the kids, and they were so happy. I mean, we have videos, you know, and I mean, you guys have to see all the stuff that we've done, or you know, some of the photos or videos. But it was such a great experience. We have enjoyed it, and we will always remember it, and we want to help always.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Gloria. You too, Scott. Chuck and Analia, or Chuck?
Thanks, Donalyn. Analia is putting our dog out in the garage because he wants to be in the room with us here. So she'll be right back. It's great to be with you all this evening. I was looking at all of the participant names, and it's great to see so many people joining, and great to see the names of so many old friends. My experience and Annalia's experience will echo what you've heard and what you will continue to hear. It's impossible to go on something like this and not have it have a profound, lasting impact on you. And I think that all of us who were there witnessed that firsthand, and it's not really something that you can reproduce in any other way. Just a little bit about Zambia. You know, people often ask, you know, why do we have to go to far reaches of the world to do good? And the answer to that is you don't. We could certainly do similar things in our own backyards, but what the difference is in a lot of these developing countries is that they do not have any type of social safety net. And to give you some idea what that means, is just the the government does not have resources to ensure that people will not, in some cases, starve to death, for example. It's when you think about that 60% of the population of Zambia lives in poverty and 45% live in what is considered extreme poverty, which means that they do not have access to basic necessities to sustain life, being food, water. You hear us talk a lot about clean water initiatives, but they don't have access to water, period, let alone clean water. 48%, almost 50% of the population in this beautiful country do not meet the minimum caloric intake guidelines of health, meaning that they're literally on the brink of starvation, half of the population in the country. And there has been an entire generation that has been wiped out by HIV. You cannot talk to anybody in that country that has not been impacted by AIDS. And interestingly, right now, that many of them are living with AIDS, but tuberculosis is actually killing them. They get a very specific strain of tuberculosis because of their HIV immune compromised systems. And one of the most disheartening, saddening statistics around that is that 20% of women have experienced some type of sexual violence before they turn 18. That's 20% before they turn 18. So what's been set up to this point about the ability to make lasting systemic changes are real. The thing that is so wonderful about our partner there, Mothers Without Borders, is the quality of the people that they have leading that organization and country. They are remarkable. You could ask anyone on this panel about Josephine, and they would immediately be able to spend an hour telling you about the powerful woman that she is and what she does for so many people. So in these cases, in these countries, Mothers Without Borders becomes those safety nets. But there's limits. There's limits to what they can do. And when you see how far your contributions go there, it really makes you step back and look at your own personal situation and say, well, I could certainly do more. And it's going to have a profound impact on the people there. And so one of the great things about these experiences as well is that it unites those who are there. We will all have a special bond among us because of a shared experience. And that's the same as of ASEA as well. We are a family because of our shared experience around ASEA. You take something like that and then take it even to a more intimate level, like a expedition into a country that's in desperate need of resources. It's life-changing. And, you know, the burden that is ours is to now come back and to make sure that we don't forget, that we don't let the demands of life make us forget or even fade the memory of what good is being done in the world by this organization. And it's all possible because of the generosity of our ASEA associates and employees. You are truly making a difference, and it's impossible to not leave a part of your soul in these places, yet at the same time, your soul actually expands at the same time. And what was beautiful about this particular experience, I've had the chance to take many of my children on different expeditions around the world, but this was the first time that my wife, Analia, she's gone to many, many ASEA events around the world. And, but this was actually the first expedition that she was able to join us on. So I'll have her close us out and just share what some of her experiences were.
Well, the reason I have not gone on those expeditions is because I knew that those experiences would be life-changing experiences for my children. I wanted them to have those experiences when they were young, so that they could have a broader view of what the world looks like. And more importantly than that, to have a broader view of the similarities that we all share as we travel around the world. Sometimes we're used to our own cultural experiences and our own way of living. But when we have the opportunity to step out and go somewhere that looks different than what we're used to, I have found repeatedly in my life that we share the same values. All of us want to be healthy. We want to be happy. We want our family to be safe. We share so much more than the things that separate us and make us different from each other. And so this trip was no exception. You know, I just started this week. I'm a teacher, and so we've started back this week. And one of the things we always say in education is that we don't teach subjects, we teach individuals. And it's important, I think, to always remember to go a little bit deeper in terms of what our goals are when we're trying to provide service or to do, you know, good in the world. And I think as associates, when I hear a CEO always talking about power and potential, I just think your ethos lines up so beautifully with the work that we do through the foundation, because you are powering the potential. And whether it's farm initiatives, you know, we did some other traveling also in Ecuador this summer, Chuck and I, and so had just this beautiful opportunity between these two countries to see all of the things that are done at a very grassroots level through those contributions that you all make. Whether people were, you know, just on a small little patch of land and they were given 10 little chicks so that they can provide eggs to give protein to their children and then sell the extra eggs, or giving those food supplementations to people who are in dire poverty. Those are all wonderful initiatives, but if you go a little bit deeper, what you see is that you're powering the potential of human beings, because you're giving hope to people in situations where it looks and feels on the daily very hopeless. And to me, that was the most inspiring thing. And the beautiful thing about participating in that is that you know that you're in some small way providing hope to other people, but it also expands your ability to feel hopeful yourself. I think sometimes in our Western world, we see so much contention and conflict and partisanship and all these things that also can feel hopeless. We can feel a little lost in that. But when you're sitting across the table from someone who's so grateful and so appreciative of this very small thing that you were able to do to help them and bless their lives, and see that your hearts can connect, those are the changes and the connections that are really the most important. And I just want to share a really quick one story from experience that we had. We also went out and met with a family with a little girl who went to the school there at the resource center, and she doesn't live at the resource center. She has a grandmother that she lives with, and her name is Dorcas, and she was 12 years old, and we found out that she does have AIDS. And she's an orphan. Her parents are both have passed away. And when we went and walked to their unbelievably humble living situation, it was something that I honestly could not even imagine. And we sat on the ground, on the dirt, talking to her grandmother and Dorcas. We found out that Dorcas's grandma had 10 children. And every single one of her children was dead. They had all passed away, a lot of them from AIDS. And yet this woman, I believe she was 84 years old, still got up every single day and put her little sticks together to make her fire when she has food to feed her grandchild. So I think she has a couple of grandchildren that she's the caretaker for. And she still puts her feet in front of her every single day and does what she can. And so when we have that opportunity, like Donna Lynn said, with such small means to make such huge contributions to people who are striving and struggling to survive, it just feels like a blessing. And it was such a beautiful opportunity. And I think it helps all of us become ambassadors for those things, because I just can't stop telling people about the experience and wanting to share what everyone's little tiny bit can do to create tremendous good in the lives of so many people around the world. So I'm so appreciative of the opportunity I had to go and travel with you. And it's always so fun to connect with our ASEA friends. It's something that I've always loved and enjoyed. And I just admire all of you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Gosh, everybody, you've just taken me back to being there. I do have to say, Maureen and I talked about this trip. We were so excited to get to go together. And then a hurricane hit. And she didn't get there till after the first part. The Mothers Without Borders expedition was almost over. She was there for the last evening. And I was so excited to get to go travel with all of you guys and meet in Atlanta and be on the big plane and do the whole deal together. And then I had 2 planes delayed, 2 days worth, 2 nights in hotels at the airport. And so I didn't get there till the 3rd day. But they were so sweet, knowing who I was and what I loved. They took me to the little orphanage that took care of the babies. It was not necessarily part of Mothers Without Borders, but they do work together. And I saw and got to hold 10, there were 11 babies there and 2 girls to take care of them. They don't have time to do anything but meet their needs, give them bottles, change their diapers. And those babies just lay in their bed. None of them have parents. So that was how it started for me. I wanted to adopt all 11. Chris said no. But I would still love to figure out a way to help those babies have families. So just know there are some beautiful babies in Zambia that need families if you know people that are wanting to adopt. And then, of course, all the other experiences, the beautiful kids that we got to be with. It was life-changing, to say the least. And I'd just like to challenge everybody to figure out a way. Maureen went to, she'll tell you about it. She went to a networking meeting and raised money. That was pretty fun. And I'm afraid if she had actually been there for the whole time, we would never see her laugh again. She cried about everything the rest of the trip, and she wasn't even in on it. The part that we saw, she didn't get to do.
You and I would have had those babies in our backpacks.
No kidding. It makes you, it is so tender. It's all just so tender, heartbreaking, but heartwarming, because those sweet kids sing and dance and praise God for his goodness and tell you how much they love you. And they're always doing little hearts with you, and they want their picture made with you. And they're so happy. And they're, you know, as we drive off, thank you, I love you, we love you. You know, it's just, it really will teach you to look at your heart. You know, when I think about the things that upset me, oh my goodness, we have it so good. So I'll turn it over to Maureen. Thank you all for coming tonight. I came home and set up a new
Donation.
New
donation?
Well, yeah, but we do it on our back office, you know. So just a new one, because I wanted one to go specifically to them. And it takes very little to go a long way. So I just challenge you, do what you can, even if it's just a little bitty bit, because they match it and make it more. And it goes a long way there. So thanks, Maureen. I'm sorry I went on and on.
No. Gosh, thank you everybody for coming on. I actually feel gypped. Yes, I went on the trip. My husband and I went. But like Donalyn said, we missed the hard part. You know, it's like being pregnant and having a C-section, I guess. You don't go through the labor, you know, so you just get the prize at the end. So we got to go on the safari, which was amazing, and meet people from Africa and visit some villages. And you guys, all I can say is we are so blessed here. If you're in this country or any of the countries that ASEA is doing business in, you are blessed compared to what we see with these people. And it's amazing how joyful they are. There's a part of me that's actually kind of glad, because I'm very tenderhearted, and I'm a big animal rescuer. I have 2 rescue dogs and way too many cats, they're telling me. So I'm sure the house would have been full of kids. But I did send my son and his wife early. They got out. They were impacted. They were a couple of days late. And it's been life-changing for them too. So my pitch is, if you have the opportunity, I don't know where we're going next. I tried to beat it out of Kim Marie. She will not, she will not even give a hint. I said, we will even pay. Don't you think this is a good idea? This would be a great way to raise funds for See Advancing Life. We should have to pay for hints. Don't you think? If you think that's good, put a put a 1 in the comment section. If you would make a donation to get a hint of where we're going next, I think everybody would do. Look, Kim Marie, I'm telling you, people love this stuff. So anyway, I've been blessed to be on a couple of different expeditions with this company. I was with Kim Marie and Chuck. Scott, I don't know, did you go to Mexico when we were building the water cisterns and
No, we've gone to Cambodia and Ecuador and now Zambia.
yeah, went to Ecuador and missed Cambodia because of COVID. But you guys, honestly, if you have the opportunity, please come. It's life-changing. If you can't come, or even if you do, please be generous. I came home and more than doubled my donation. I just was so blown away by everything this company does. They are such incredible stewards of our money. What they do, they can make a dollar go so far. And it doesn't take a lot, you guys. If everybody gave $5, that would make a huge difference because the company is, as Donalyn said earlier, they match it dollar for dollar. And one of the things that I don't think we do enough is tell people who we are as a company. And Donalyn had mentioned that I went to a networking meeting, and instead of talking about this breakthrough technology, which we all know, we all love, we're changing people's lives with these products. I decided to talk about See Advancing Life and what Mothers Without Borders was doing. And one by one, the people who had just opened their businesses back up, we had been decimated on the island by a hurricane. So people were out of their homes. Most people didn't have power for a week or two. Businesses were closed. So they were struggling. A lot of people were struggling. And yet one by one, they came up to give me donations. And I was like, oh my gosh, I left there. It was a fairly small group of people, maybe 20 people. And I left with $70. $70 that's doubled by the company. So that's $140 going to one of these initiatives. And that makes a difference. You heard Kim Marie and Donalyn say $25 will support a kid, one child for a year. So we're going to ask you to dig deep. I don't normally beat money out of people, but somebody's like, okay, I'll donate. Yes, please do. Please do. It's part of who we are, you guys. We're a force for good in the world. So thank you. Anybody have any last, because I'm probably going to cry. Anybody have any last thing they want to share?
Yeah, I'd like to ask Kim Marie to pipe in and inform everybody how they can. What's the logistics?
Okay, there's 2 locations where you can donate. You can donate directly on our website, advancinglife.org, where you can see all the stories and see the impact. Go to the donate button. You can set up a one-time payment, or you can set up a reoccurring monthly payment and select whatever amount you would like to donate on that platform. You can also go into the VO shopping cart, and you'll see a tab that says in your shopping cart, the different products, events, and the ASEA Advancing Life Foundation. If you go into there, you can make a donation. Again, you can do a one-time donation, or you can set up a donation to be like a subscription, a monthly donation. I believe in there that the minimum is $5 that you need to donate through there. So if you're not able to donate $5 and want to do less, you can do that through the advancinglife.org platform. And then in North America's conference next month, of course, we'll all be there. And if you'd like to donate cash, you can do so there as well.
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you so much for explaining that, Kim Marie. I thought of something I wanted to. Oh, I came home more motivated to build this business because, yes, we all realize that we can make a lot of money in this business, and money is good, but it does really good things in situations like this. And it would be so nice to just be able to write a check as big as your heart wants to, you know? So let's build bigger and do more for all of these people I think we'll be blessed 100-fold just knowing that we did that. So thank you all so much. Oh, someone asked, could we explain what the food that they had was? Kim Marie, you could probably do that better than we can, but it was pretty
Yes.
neat.
The food that they eat there is their traditional food, and it is called shima. It's basically a white corn that has been milled down into a flour, add some water, they cook it into a big pot. It's the consistency of probably like mashed potatoes. They will feed that to them with a side of steamed vegetables or beans. Sometimes they have some protein to give them. One of the weeks that we were there with the expedition, it looked like chicken, but what they were giving them was, I think it was a chicken flavored tofu. So that's typically what they give them. And Mothers Without Borders has the feeding program at the Carol Zulu School, but they also partner with other schools out into some of the slum areas to make sure that children are getting food there as well. So that's typically what the lunches look like.
Josephine told us that, or someone told us that she is actually responsible for feeding 5,000 children in the surrounding villages, plus the children at the school. That's a lot of kids, y'all. I don't know how she does everything she does, listening to the board she's on, and she's so well respected by the authorities that when they find a child in trouble, instead of going through all of the red tape with the police, they bring them to her. So it's an amazing thing. I encourage you to find out as much as you can about it. And Kim Marie, there's going to be a Mothers Without Borders celebration of life or gala in October of this year, that we can buy tickets, we can fill tables and go and support them that way. So sounds like a fun extra event in case you don't travel quite enough. So anyone else want to say anything before we close it out? We're a little bit early, which never happens. But I sure do appreciate everybody coming on. And is there anything else anyone remembered that you'd like to share? It was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I'll share, there was a question of, have we covered the expenses for the year with Mothers Without Borders? So what we have funded the Carol Zulu School. That's completely funded and paid for this year. And that is a reoccurring expense that they have every year that needs to be funded every single year. The cost to fund the school, the feeding program, the school supplies, the teachers' salaries, the operational expenses of the school for 1 year for 850 kids is $130,000. And we did fund that. We are going to be raising money between now and at the North America Conference for the Boys Empowerment Program. And this is a very important program. We'll talk about it a little bit more at the North America Conference, but this is a program where they're teaching the boys who are in high school ages and going into college how to respect women, how to be fathers, how to be, how to have values. They teach them how to look at what their skill sets are, what they're naturally gifted in, and what career paths they should follow, how to get into a college or a university to get the education that they need to break the cycles of poverty. They have had such great success with their empowerment programs with the girls. Right now, there's 500 girls meeting in Zambia with Josephine, learning how to be beautiful women, how to be the mothers that many of them didn't have. They're growing up in villages and don't have opportunities, but this program is empowering them. And these girls are so beautiful and so smart and are filled with so much potential. And they go to the universities. And then the problem just culturally is that they have a hard time finding someone to be their partner and to support them. And so this boys empowerment program is truly important to continue raising up this next generation of young adults in Zambia. And they started this program, but they haven't had the funding to keep the program going. And while we were there, we heard several young men talk about how grateful they were that they were able to go to school and get the scholarship and want to learn, but yet the funding isn't there, so they don't know if they'll get to continue. So that's what we're raising money for right now with Mothers Without Borders, is to support the young men in this country. And they want to be change agents. They want to be good fathers and they want to be good husbands. But they, as Chuck mentioned, don't have an example of that because of the diseases and just the circumstances in the country and how the men have passed away. Or we were talking to, some of you might have met the social worker, Fred, and he said, if I didn't have this program, I'd probably be in jail right now because I'd probably be in circumstances where I need to steal to get food and help my family or something like that. So it's a really important program that we're raising money for right now. And so that's what we're supporting.
Hey, Kim,
I
is
think
there
that
anything you can
today-
tell them about what else they will hear at the North America Conference?
I'm sorry.
You want
Oh.
to tell them what else they'll hear?
So at
announcements
the
you
North
make?
America Conference, with the foundation, you'll learn where our expedition is for next year. And so we'll be announcing that. Maureen, you'll have to wait one more month. But that will be exciting to have the opportunity to sign up for that expedition as well. Is that what you're referring to, Chuck? Okay, perfect.
Hey, Kim, people are asking how much SEPAC specifically, how much is that boys empowerment program? What kind of money do you need to raise for that?
So there's 90 boys that they are supporting right now, who all of them know that potentially they may not get support any longer. So the cost to keep the 90 boys in the program, which provides them, most of them bicycles so they can get to high school. It provides them with the money so that they can go to the university and get a degree. It provides them the opportunity to have mentors that they meet with each week and have meetings. And those mentors help them to know what career path they should take, teaches them the values and with still good value systems and understand and learn new skills. So that program for the 90 boys is $120,000 for the year. So we're trying to raise money for that.
That's awesome. That's so good. And we also one day went to the little house that supplies a place for the street children to come, and they have a meal, right? And they can have a shower, but they have to go back on the street to sleep at night. And they only have that privilege if they stay in school. I mean, there's so many places there that need help. So thank you guys for being with us tonight. Got us all stirred up again. But it was wonderful. I hope to always stay stirred up over this kind of thing because it's amazing, it's life-changing, and we can be life-changing for them. So bless you all. Thank you for anything you can do, and we'll see you at the conference.
I'd like to just thank everybody for being on tonight. This was a great session with, as I said earlier, all the heavyweights in ASEA. This was wonderful. Next week, Friday, our special guest is Henry Lopez, who is the chief formulator for ASEA's cellular performance line of products. And so we're going to be grilling him, and he's going to be teaching us all about what Redox Active means as it applies to the cellular performance. So again, thank you everybody for tuning in. Come next Friday or Saturday morning if you're in the Orient, I guess, or in that time zone with Australia. Join us Saturday morning, and we will enjoy hearing from Henry Lopez. Again, thank you for all of our panelists.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks,
See you
everybody.
guys soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Love you guys.